Hello and welcome to my channel, The Software Chef. Okay, it's been long that I've been posting videos on my new development journeys. I was occupied with my new projects and a lot of cool stuff with what I've been doing, and right now I'm back to share all that information with you all. And today we are going to talk about a very interesting tool which I came across while I was doing my own projects. And the name of the tool is Spotter, which is by a company called as XLAB. Now, the best part about this tool is that I could simply test my Ansible playbooks and I could get all the errors and rectifying in my console in my IDE directly. So that is something which made me thought, okay, how about just writing a playbook, and then if there is a tool which could tell me, okay, if this of the modules name which I'm using is incorrect, if there are certain more improvisations which can be done to the playbooks, to the roles, to make the entire development of the Ansible much more smoother. And that's where I believe that this particular tool plays a very vital role. So today in this video, we would be demonstrating on how you could install Spotter on your laptop, on your workstations, and then how you could see all these reporting tools in your IDE. So stay tuned and watch the full video. Created a very basic installation of some system services, Nginx, Docker, web page, and we would be testing it with two particular tools. First, we would be testing it against Ansible Lint, and second, I would show you how and what benefits I see of using Spotter XLAB over here. So I would demonstrate everything, but before that, let's just have a brief overview of the code which we have in front of us. So if I show you, we just have a simple playbook which is installing some system roles, Nginx with SSL, security is important, Docker and web page. So if I just go and deep dive into some of the tasks, if I just want to show you is we are just enabling some repositories, we have some conditions based on the distro specific tasks. Then we would be installing some base packages, firewall D. We would be enabling the services, installing some SSH packages. Then we would blacklist some of the services and simply allow some of the rules. That's all which we have on our system. In Nginx, we have certain tasks where we are installing the Nginx package. Then we are generating some private keys. We are generating some self-signed certificates and some configuration. Then we would be installing Docker, and that task particularly include how the installation of the Docker, the services, what version we need, for which distribution we would need to download the Docker from where, and yes, all other configuration required for this. And at last, we have a web page which would be displaying over here, which has some of the content. Now, if I want to let's say as a developer, if I've developed my entire code, and if I want to optimize my code to the best practices, or let's say to the good practices level, I would definitely want to run a YAML lint on this entire repository and Ansible lint to identify what's missing. So let's quickly run Ansible lint over here. So deep dive into the Ansible lint part. So if I show you that this is my repository is wherein, and I am running my Ansible lint on all the rules which I just demonstrated. So if you see, I am expecting some errors, exceptions, because I've explicitly left it over there. Oh wow, okay. So now if you see, we have a total of 22 failures, which is complaining about some naming conventions which I have used. I have not used the right name of the module, which is like a production related error, and as developer we should never do it. Then there are certain file permissions which I have given explicitly to generate these errors. So this is what Ansible lint gives you, which is a really nice view, you know. So if you let's say if we just focus on this particular error, it says you should use a canonical module name community.docker container instead of ansible.built-in, which clearly says or tells that as a developer, I have used a wrong name while developing this particular task. So this is a nice impression, but Ansible lint is not telling me what are the best practices I could have incorporated or I could have used in this particular development phase, in my development journey. And that's where this particular tool Spotter comes a very uh, vital role. And now let me show you the results and how you could install Spotter on your workstation. You could simply do a pip install uh, of this steampunk Spotter. I would give you all the commands, and then let me show you the installation and how you could get started with this particular tool. It's a very simple task. You just have to run a pip install on Steampunk Spotter. It will install the latest version. And then once the installation is completed, you could just check the version. For now, I'm using 2.5.0. The best thing is, as a developer, if you are just testing your playbooks, you just have to create a basic login onto their website, and boom, that's all you have to do. Spotter tool using the CLI, which we just saw, you would just have to do a Spotter login from your terminal with your username, password, or the API token, whatever method you prefer. I would prefer the API token. Never pass your username passwords on the terminal directly. And once this particular login is successful, you could simply start your test cases. But before that, you would also have to log in into their particular website. The link of this particular website is in the description of the video. You could simply create a default login. You get a free trial of a few weeks. And then what you see is whatever project you have, you would see the data and the analysis of the code which you have written. So let's run a first analysis. And over here, if I would just say I already have my command and it's running certain scans. Oops, okay, this shows certain errors with my playbook, but let's say if I want to run it on my entire directory, I want to scan my entire Ansible project. Oh my God. Do you see? It tells me much more details about my errors, warning, and hints. So it's not just telling me to replace some FQCN name as we saw earlier while we ran the Ansible lint, but it's giving me more details on how I can optimize this particular repository and make it more efficient. So if you see, let's take this warning. Use of parameter ports is deprecated in this particular module, which is very useful for me because as a developer, I cannot keep a track of all the available parameters in a particular module. So it's a very nice warning. Then there is a hint section. If you see, it says that I have not installed the Docker collection itself from a requirements.yaml file. So that's important too for me. Then there are errors, which is okay, which is again about using a fully qualified domain name. And since this window is less, now let's go to their website and see what is the scan. Let me just refresh. Okay, now we see we have 3 scans. We see the most common errors. And if I want to have a detailed view, I would come here. I would go to this. Oh my God. Okay, and now I could define if I want to see an error, if I want to see a warning, or if I want to see a hint. So this is something which is really important for a developer to identify, okay, in what line I could make or I could improve my entire Ansible code repository. So this is really, really important and a nice tool which I recently came across. I would definitely suggest you all to give it a try and see how you could incorporate such a testing tool in your Ansible project journey. It's definitely a very good help if you are a new developer and you are just writing a few playbooks. You want to have a CI where you would want to run some Ansible lint tests, YAML lint tests. Also include Spotter tests because it is a much more detailed version. So I guess that's all for today's demo, guys. I think, yep, all the links are in description. Go ahead, give it a try, and let me know how did you like it. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked the video, feel free to share it with your friends, give it a thumbs like, and subscribe to my channel.